Hello everyone, my name is Brett, and sometimes I wear a beret, and today I am super excited to talk to you guys about my brand new MHP Magpie. MHP being Mr. Mrheathpants, the man who came into this hobby and basically broke the internet with his break action hammer shot, his ASG-18 Nerf pump action shotgun, things that people saw and it basically blew their minds. You could see the half darts flying out of them one by one. So, the Magpie. You can tell it's a magpie and not a pigeon because in the handle, that's a bird with a hat. And it's adorable. And here you can see it says, the Magpie. And MHP Arms on the side. This model in particular drops the cylinders, pop one back in, rock and roll. When I was choosing the colors, he offered the wooden grip, and I said, yes please. And then I said, how about white for the rest of the blaster with orange accents? And he says, oh, I like orange accents too. And I'm like, a man after my own heart. I love this. I love this look. So it's 3D printed in wood, sanded it down, and then stained it. It feels really nice, especially when I know my hand is going to be here the entire time. Underneath, you have the battery door. In case I didn't explain too much, yes, this is a Flywheel of the World powered flywheel revolver. There's no battery in here obviously right now, so you're not hearing any of the noise. But the hammer is in a sense then functional, but of course the trigger is what actually makes this go. And the trigger is a two-stage trigger. So when I pull it back halfway, I will get the rev. Again, you don't hear that, there's no battery. And then all the way, did you see that? Back, and now it's gonna push a dart through, and it retracts. You know exactly when you fired this thing because it's not just a bang, bang, it's a bang, bang, bang. It's a very tactile response. Now, when I may have been aiming through the chronograph earlier, that was definitely aiming with this barrel. I should have familiarized myself with the Ultra 2 and known what I was doing. Little iron sights on the top, you can see right there. Nothing too fancy, but I think they add just enough to the top to make it look quite nice. And of course, since my channel has become at least somewhat involved with talking about the quality of 3D prints, I love you guys. I should mention that these are really good. I am really liking the 3D print quality on this blaster. Obviously I talked about the handle, that's a little bit different, but everything else feels pretty smooth, feels pretty rigid. But no, I think this came out really nicely and I really appreciate the time that went into this. The cylinders, let's talk about those. Also 3D printed, also pretty good quality. I think that you could find these and the blaster on Thingiverse. I need to check that. They're out there somewhere, so if I needed to print more of these, I could, like if they did fall, get broken, or I literally just wanted more than 3, but he was kind enough to send 3 with me. And I thought this was a nice little touch too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the way that these are actually fit into the blaster, that's in the front. I'm going to not really be able to see them unless I hold it backwards and then it rolls away. There's 6 shots, which is not a lot compared to some other blasters on the market. I know the Viper holds 8, this holds 6. So for some people, that's not a huge capacity. I didn't buy this because I needed a huge capacity, a mag-fed revolver or a mag-fed pistol. That's the turkey. That comes out later, but they're pretty sturdy and I like that. He also sent me some little extra parts. What about the performance? How does this thing fare? Well, I've got some dirts. Does it fire ultra? No, go away. Although, it does fit down the barrel. Whatever, we're not talking about ultra today. What kind of darts does it work with? Well, it works with a lot of darts, except the hard-tipped ones, as it should not. That seems like a good way to avoid using FEJs. So I think of all the darts I could just pull up right here, it will probably work with them. Maybe these Adventure Force waffle heads will feed through, but they might get a little more stuck through those flywheels. So yeah, ranges perhaps will be limited. But of course, worker darts, ACC style darts, waffle variants like the men guns, other waffles, even though these might be also a little bit thicker. AccuStrike heads I think are also, and AccuFake are also acceptable. So pretty wide variety, but nothing with a harder tip. So probably I would stay away from these Z-tips, which are a little more vinyl-y than desirable. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna risk it. Bamboos? I would assume so, though I don't know if bamboo darts are ideal out of flywheel blasters. How does the ranges fare up with those dart types? Well, Mr. Mrheathpants advertises that a 2S LiPo, you can expect about 85 to 95 FPS, and with a 3S you could probably get up to 110. It's obviously not boasting performance that's up there with Caliburn, right? Like, this is not something that's pushing 200 FPS. This is not something that I'm expecting to ever try pushing up to that limit. For my testing, I put a few different types of half darts through my chronograph. The first one, which I actually really enjoyed, were the men gun half darts. Now these ones are just cut down men gun darts, and they seem to do fairly well, be pretty consistent, definitely found that 85 to 95 feet per second average, and they did not lose their heads too frequently. So these ones might be something I gravitate towards. Those were followed up by waffles, which were literally just cut down waffle darts, not Adventure Force waffles, more just like XX waffles. And these ones also seemed to do pretty well, and it seemed like their heads being a little bit wider than the men gun heads was not a huge problem, and I also didn't have too many decapitations with these ones. And finally, which I have the most of course, but seemed to decapitate the most, were worker darts. Specifically, I went with the Gen 3s because when I did do Gen 2s, man, the heads were almost coming off 5 out of 6 times. These ones still, though, seem to lose their heads quite frequently. Maybe it's just because this batch I had was the newer generation that is more notorious for losing heads, but I don't know what's up with that. Maybe I just gotta go get some more worker darts, but the performance was still reasonable, though I did seem to find more variations with performance on these. And yes, full disclosure, sometimes I'm not aiming accurately through this chronograph. It happens, it's hard to do. Where's the barrel? I don't know. Also, a couple other options that Mr. Mrheathpants advertises for the barrel length. So this one, this is a long boy barrel. He doesn't call it that, but I just did. You have a few different options if you want to get one of these yourself or print one yourself. You do need to hit this release in order to swing the cylinder out, and when you throw it back in, you will also need to hit it in order to properly seat it back into the blaster. And as I mentioned on this model, the cylinders are swappable, but there are versions where the cylinder is not swappable, and for some people they may prefer that, but I decided to go with this version because I thought it would be fun. So if you're seeing this blaster right now and thinking, Brett, I need to have this in my life, where do I go to get this in my life? Mr. Mrheathpants' Etsy isn't regularly selling these, so I think you can reach out to him and see if he will commission one for you. He was nice enough to do that for me, which I am still appreciative of, and in the end it cost me about 185 United States dollars. So it's not cheap. It's definitely a reasonable price for the unit, and it's right in that sweet spot for what I think most people are charging for 3D printed creations like this. As I mentioned, I'm really pleased with the quality, I'm pleased with the functionality. It's obviously not something I'm going to take to an ultra stock game that maybe has a 250 FPS cap. No, this is maybe for a little bit lower, and I accept that. The reason I bought this is because it looks absolutely beautiful, and I wanted to support Mr. Mrheathpants. Honestly, part of me wants to just like put this on my wall too. But once again, Mr. Mrheathpants, thank you so much for taking on this commission, and I'm really happy that I finally got to get a blaster from you, and I cannot wait to actually use this in a game. I'll put a link to Mr. Mrheathpants' social media information if you are interested in reaching out to him, but that is going to do it for today. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you later.